Hello everyone, this is Sam Car Legion. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another comparison. Behind me, we have two German competitors. On my left side, we have the 2021 Mercedes GLC SUV. And on my right side, we have the 2021 Audi Q5. Today, I'm going to compare them head to head to find out which one is the best out of these two very popular SUVs. Is the Audi better than the GLC, or is the GLC better than the Audi Q5? You probably watching this, you know these two vehicles are extremely popular. They're actually the bread and butter for each manufacturer, whether it's the Mercedes or the Audi. The Audi Q5 for 2021 has received some minor changes. You can find a specific review on the new Q5 on the link. You can find the link in the description below. It is my first time actually doing a review against these two vehicles. I've also reviewed the GLC Coupe as well. You can find that link in the description below. But for today, we're going to find out which one is the best out of these two German engineered vehicles. The Audi Q5 is provided to us thanks to our great friends at Audi Brampton, an Audi dealership located in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. If you are watching this video, you can get a discount or promotion from this dealership just because you're one of my viewers. The only thing you have to do is find the link in the description below. And of course, you can find their website and their Instagram if you want to reach out and take the Q5 for a test drive. But for now, let's start comparing these two. And let's start first with the options. What do you get for each vehicle? Well, most importantly, you get the base models, which is the ones that we have for today's video, a standard Q5 or an SQ5. There will be potentially an RS Q5 in the coming years. We don't know yet. It hasn't arrived to North America, Canada, or United States at this point. But the Mercedes does offer you high performance versions of the GLC, and you get two options, a GLC Coupe and a GLC SUV, which is the one that we have for today's video. The Audi will have a Sportback Q5 in the coming months. I'll do a review of it as well and compare it to a standard Q5. But for now, we only have a standard Q5 and an SQ5. The GLC, on the other hand, has a GLC 300 SUV or Coupe and a GLC 43 AMG or a GLC 63 AMG, which is the most powerful GLC version, and each one comes with a different price tag. The Mercedes GLC base model starts at $49,000 Canadian, meanwhile the Audi Q5 starts at $47,000 for the base model. How do they compare in terms of pricing? Well, overall, the Mercedes will cost you more than the Audi Q5, whether you live in the States or Canada. You also get the option to add some performance packages. So for example, the Mercedes will offer you an AMG package, which gives you different wheels, different exterior parts as well to make it more aggressive. So does the Audi Q5, which offers an S line, which is the one that we have for today's video. And amazingly, the Q5 with the S line offers carbon fiber mirrors, which make this car look very aggressive. In terms of the wheel setup, the Mercedes offers with the AMG package 19-inch AMG wheels. Meanwhile, the Audi for this video has 20-inch wheels, Audi Sport. And most importantly, as you can see from the video, the Audi offers 4-piston brakes in the front, but single piston in the back. You can add similar brake kit in the Mercedes GLC with an AMG package, which adds the big calipers. Now let's talk about power, because that's what it comes down to. How do these two compare in terms of horsepower and engine options? As I said previously, these are the two base model, but you can also get an SQ5, which makes a lot more horsepower, or the GLC 43 AMG, all the way to the GLC 63 AMG. Fantastic vehicle and tons of horsepower. What do we have in here though? The Audi Q5 for this package offers an intercooled turbocharged gasoline and an electric motor, so it's sort of like a hybrid. It is a 2-liter engine and it makes 261 brake horsepower. Meanwhile, the Mercedes offers a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine as well that makes 255 brake horsepower. Then the GLC 43 makes 385 brake horsepower, all the way to the 63 version, which makes 503 brake horsepower. The Audi uses a 7-speed S-tronic automatic, and it's the same transmission used in the SQ5. Meanwhile, the Mercedes with the base model uses a 9G tronic automatic. If you go all the way to the 63, it uses an MCT 9-speed automatic transmission. The 43 MG uses a standard 9G tronic. A lot of specifications, and I know you're probably getting confused, but it's important to mention that how do these two vehicles compare in terms of the horsepower? We'll talk about that once we take it on our roads, but I just wanted to give you some of the specifications for each vehicle. And most importantly, both vehicles are all-wheel drive. One uses a Quattro system, meanwhile the Mercedes uses a 4MATIC, which most of you know by now. Now let's talk about the exterior, because I know a lot of you guys want to talk about the view and the design and so on. Which one do I personally like between these two? With the S-Line package, the Audi looks pretty aggressive, and with this color looks fantastic. I have to say they've done a great job. I love the headlights, I love the turning signal that when you use it, it kind of has like a fading away. It's interesting. The Mercedes is a bit more settled in the front. What I do love about Mercedes is the tail lights. Absolutely amazing tail light. It feels more luxurious Mercedes in my opinion. The Audi Q5 has that sporty design. There is a very huge difference between these two vehicles. One thing that annoys me about both these vehicles, the fake exhaust tips in the back. Not sure why they did that, but both use exactly the same design. The Audi has gone a bit further by making it look like a quad exhaust, but it's not. It's just fake. It doesn't actually work. The exhaust tips are located underneath. With the S-Line, you can see it has that beautiful diffuser, aggressive design. Now, let's move on into tech features and convenience features. Most importantly, both vehicles offer keyless entry, and you can also use apps for both models. You can start the engine from the app, and you can do all sorts of convenience features offered in each individual app. On the outside, both have LED headlights. Both don't have fog lights at the bottom. You just get standard headlights for both models, but most importantly, beautiful design on the Audi in my opinion. Absolutely love the headlights. They're very aggressive and sporty at the same time. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is, of course, cargo space overall. One thing you need to know is that the Mercedes GLC is technically bigger than the Audi Q5. It is heavier, longer wheelbase, and longer body, which means you'll be getting more cargo space in the Mercedes GLC. And another thing that I noticed with the Mercedes GLC is that it has these little buttons located into the back here to fold the second row. In the Audi, you have sort of like a pedal, you pull it and you fold the seats. But the Mercedes, underneath the cover, has a spare tire, so does the Audi. The only difference is in the Mercedes, you get a bit more space around the tire if you want to use it. And most importantly, what they've thought about it, which is brilliant, they put an actual lock in here. So you can use the key from the key fob, and you can lock the cover under the actual tire, which is quite impressive. And another thing I noticed with the Mercedes is that the handles located at the top over here have a little hook that you can probably sort of hang anything. So for example, if you went, let's say, camping, you can hang something there or tie. Both sides have it on the actual door handle. And in terms of convenience, both have the kick option, power lift gates. You can close it through the key fob and so on. Slide your foot under on the right side for both vehicles, and it will open the lift gate. Another interesting feature about the Mercedes is the actual seat belts. You see, they've thought about something interesting. The seat belt can be tucked in on the side of the door, so that way it doesn't hang around, and it also doesn't bang onto the plastic here and makes weird noise. Brilliant idea. But what they have failed with the Mercedes GLC is that you can't actually fold the seats from inside the second row seats. But what you can do is fold them all three separately. Yes, you can fold the left, the right side, and the center as well. In the center though, they have offered an actual button here to fold the armrest. The problem is that this seat over here, in order for you to fold it, you have to go all the way to the back because it doesn't actually have any buttons in here that you can press to fold the seats. If you know it, let me know, because I couldn't find anything in here to fold the seats in the second row. In the Audi, you have this lever located into here. You have one for the other side, and you can fold the seat in the second row. And most importantly, you do have a spare tire underneath, a little bit space, but in the Mercedes you do get more space. And most importantly, this one doesn't actually offer a lock option to lock this part, but what you can do is just remove it completely. It gives you that option. In the Q5, you have an actual lever located onto the side of the seat for both sides, so that way you can fold the seat. The problem I have with the Q5 is that the headrest is so big, and if you don't push the seat forward, you won't be able to actually fold it completely because the size of it. In the Mercedes, I didn't have that problem because the headrests are so small that it doesn't require you to move. Now, I sat the seat in front as if I was the driver to make it a fair comparison. These little things that you don't notice until you actually test them. And that's why I wanted to mention this, that I found it interesting that this actually needs to be moved the seat forwards. Meanwhile, in the Mercedes, you don't have to do that because the headrest, it's much smaller. But here's the interesting part. The armrest in the center in the Mercedes, besides the cup holders, the same thing as here, it does have more space. So you can lift the cover and you can use it for different things. In here, we only have the space for the cup holders. Let's move on into space on the interior for both vehicles. And let's start first with the Q5. A few things you need to know. Overall, leg room, headroom, the Audi Q5, even though it's actually smaller, it has better leg room and headroom in the first row and the second row. And most importantly, with this package that we have for today's video, the Audi Q5 offers heated seats and temperature control unit for the second row and 2 USB ports. In the Mercedes, what they've thought about it, which I absolutely love, especially if you have kids, they have 2 USB-Cs, but they're hidden. So you actually have to press the cover, and that way it pops out. So in case you have kids, they don't have to play around it. In terms of panoramic roof, the Mercedes offers a split panoramic roof. So you have the glass in the back and one in the front. This offers a full panoramic roof with the option to open the front roof. And you do get a sunshade as well. Now, in terms of space in here overall, as you can see, I am 6'2". I'm nice and comfortable. I have lots of headroom. It feels perfect. It's easy, and I think I would enjoy a long trip. Now let's talk about the interior of the Mercedes. One thing I noticed in here is that you do feel like you have more headroom overall. As you can see, like there's so much space between my head and the actual ceiling, and the actual roof. There's a lot of space between my head and the roof. Maybe it has to do with the panoramic roof, which this doesn't have a full one. It's split, as you can see. But I do feel that there's a bit more room in here, and it feels more roomy. And in terms of area here, we don't have anything in terms of the temperature control. We do have the air vent control here that you can close them simultaneously at the same time. And as I said, you have that option here for the USB-C, which are hidden inside. That way your kids don't play around, and they also stay nice and clean. Now let's talk about the front area where most of the drivers are going to spend their time. First of all, let's talk about the design. Which one do I like the most out of the two? The first thing you're going to notice if you ever test driving back to back is that the Mercedes does have a luxury touch. The GLC, though, didn't receive much love for 2021, and what I mean with that is that new models offer a full digital cluster all the way through with the actual infotainment display. And the last vehicle I had for Mercedes was the A30. The last vehicle I had from Mercedes was the GLA 35, and that had the beautiful screen all the way through. In here, we have a standard cluster with the digital screen in the center, but the speedometer and the tachometer are actually analog. But the infotainment display itself and the system has been updated, so we have the new Mercedes system used across all the models. The difference is that this is just a standalone screen in the center. And most importantly, compared to the Audi Q5, this does offer a few options to control the infotainment display. One of those is the trackpad in the center. You can play with it, and it's easy use. But if you don't like that, then you have a touchscreen option as well, which again makes this very practical for different preferences. And if you don't like those two, Well, you have the option through the actual steering wheel, so you can control it through this scroll button located into the side. And the same thing for the cluster. You have this little beautiful touch and press buttons. So they're giving you a lot of options. If you hate either or, you have a third one. Now, in terms of tech features, what do they offer? Both have heated seats in the front. Both have heated steering wheel. You have power steering column as well, and both have full adaptive cruise control. If you've ever been a Mercedes, you know that the control unit for the seats is actually located on the side of the panel, and you can adjust it through there, and it offers multiple options, including the headrest. Very, very advanced compared to the Audi. The Audi has it on the side of the seat, but it doesn't have as many controls compared to the Mercedes, which kind of justifies the price increase in the Mercedes GLC compared to the Q5. Overall, the Mercedes feels more luxurious inside than the Audi. The Audi, in my opinion, the Q5 has that sportiness inside, and that's what I like about it. It has a beautiful, massive infotainment display. In terms of tech features and safety features, you also get adaptive cruise control with the Audi Q5. So does the Mercedes GLC offer that. Then you got 360 camera in both vehicles, very sharp, different options. You can change the layout. The Audi offers a beautiful digital cluster that you can display the map. It has the Google Map. Yes, it has a built-in Google Map, which is quite amazing. The Mercedes uses its own navigation system with the Hey Mercedes option, which is there we go, it started it. Once you say Hey Mercedes, it will start doing the voice control. You can turn that off, but it's quite helpful because you can use it to basically search for fast food places, gas station, and so on. In the Q5, you can display the map whether you want it in the actual cluster or the infotainment display. The Q5 also offers heated and cooling cup holders. So at summertime, you can keep your drink cool, let's say iced coffee. Wintertime, you can keep your coffee warm. Something that you're missing in a Mercedes. I know, it's pretty cool to have something like that, and I love it. In terms of connectivity, both have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I do know that the Audi offers wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can basically connect through that without using any USB ports. And here you have to go through the USB ports. They both have wireless charging pad as well. One thing I discovered about the Mercedes is the center cup holder. So you can actually remove this part completely and it gives you more space, which I think it's pretty cool. And the armrest gives you more space underneath, and you got two USB-C, not USB ports in here. With the Mercedes, you only get USB-C, so it does offer an extension from USB-C to USB. But if you are an iPhone user, the new iPhones don't come with USB, they come with USB-C to Lightning ports. And you get two in here and one in the center. The Audi uses only USB ports. Now, I've covered everything you need to know in terms of tech features, space, and the safety features as well. It's time now to take them on the road and talk about how do they drive, which one feels faster, which one feels more comfortable, and so on. So, let's go for a drive, and let's take first the Audi Q5. Okay, let's talk about these two. How do they drive? I've had the GLC for about a week now, and I've had the Audi Q5. I've driven it multiple times, and the Q5 is an interesting vehicle, and I understand maybe some people will lean towards the Audi Q5, and here's my take on these two vehicles. I think overall, the driving experience in the Audi Q5 is more sporty than in the GLC. I don't feel the same performance in the GLC. Don't get me wrong, the GLC is quite powerful, but the Audi Q5, like, you just push this thing, and I don't even have it in sport mode. Let me put dynamic. Audi owners are gonna be offended. How dare you say sport? It is dynamic. Shh. Yeah, I get it. This is so much fun, this thing. There's definitely more response in here compared to the GLC, in my opinion. This thing picks up really quick. It's especially at lower RPM, like 4,000, 3,000 RPM. the Q5 just goes, and it's so responsive when it comes to the steering wheel too. Just turn a little, go into corner, look at that, just sticks to the ground. There is definitely a difference in performance. Now let's talk about the comfort level. Which one feels better? Does the Q5 feel more comfortable? I find the suspension system here slightly more stiffer. I find the suspension system in the Q5 slightly stiffer compared to the GLC. The GLC has a bit more of a boat ride. The Q5 feels slightly more performance. I'm not saying necessarily like an SQ5, that kind of feeling, but it does feel slightly stiffer compared to the GLC. Let's talk about visibility. They're very similar. Even the body shape is very, very similar. Where you lose visibility is the Sportback or the Coupe in the Mercedes, for example, because the body just changes completely. Oh, this thing, it's so much fun to drive the Audi compared to the GLC, in my opinion. It's just there's just something about the engine here and the transmission that work really well together compared to the GLC. The GLC is more comfortable, more relaxing. You push the GLC and it goes too, but that response from the transmission and the engine in the Q5, it's definitely different compared to the GLC. There is that difference, and I've driven the Q5 multiple times, and I've said this before, it feels pretty quick for the engine, for that kind of engine. Don't forget, the GLC doesn't have the same hybrid system used in the Q5 that works together with the engine and the electric motor. So that's another difference between the two engines, and I think that could be the reason why the Q5 feels slightly more powerful and it reacts quickly when you push it. It also has to do with the transmission, how quick the transmission response is, how much quicker it feels in terms of shifting gears. And I think the Q5 has that quick response. I like this thing. I like this. I love the digital cluster in here. I can see the map right in front of me. I love the infotainment display, very easy to use. You don't get the same convenience as the Mercedes where you can use it through the steering wheel, the trackpad, and so on. But I barely use the trackpad in the Mercedes. I only use the touch screen. I love the shift knob in the Audi Q5. I don't like that Mercedes style. It's just a preference. It doesn't mean it's a bad car. It's just my preference. I like the shift knob. It's easy to use. It's faster to use, I find it as well. I like how the GLC drives. It's comfortable, it's quick, and when you need it, it has the power delivery. But the Audi Q5 feels slightly faster compared to the Mercedes. And in the Mercedes, you're sort of like in a boat ride kind of style, but it's still a great vehicle if you don't care about that power thing. The difference is not 100%. It's about 30% in terms of the response of the engine in here. Which one do I like the most? I like the Q5, and the reason I say that, it's not because I get paid from the dealership. I do not get sponsored by anybody, whether it's manufacturers or even dealerships. I do not accept any sort of payments because I want to have my own opinion, and I've said this multiple times, but I'm sure a lot of you guys would be saying, some of you guys, not a lot of you, some of you, oh, you got paid by Audi. No, I didn't. I didn't get paid for anyone. If I was getting paid by a dealership, I'll be driving a Ferrari around. I think the Q5, it's genuinely slightly better than the Mercedes. And I'm saying about the driving experience, even tech features. Here it feels nice, it feels more sporty. It's more a subjective view in terms of the design feeling, the interior features as well, rather than you're missing some features on one that the other one gets. And that's what it comes down to. I love how the steering wheel feels in the Audi Q5. In my opinion, feels more sporty, feels just a bit more comfortable. And overall, there's slightly more response in here. I wish I get to put them to test in terms of the all-wheel drive system. I don't have that opportunity yet, but I will do it in the future. Take them both in a snow test and see. But for now, I think the Q5 out of these two, it's a lot of car for the money. It's a lot of car for the money. That's my take on it. The GLC is fantastic as well. You get more cargo space. You get a more comfortable ride. You don't get the same response because it's technically heavier. And also in the GLC, you have a bit more luxury feeling inside. But I do feel disappointed with Mercedes not offering the same interior. But that also makes it special at the same time because it doesn't look exactly the same like every other Mercedes in the lineup. So you could look at it that way too. But I think between these two, I like the Q5. It drives a little bit better. It's a more sporty drive, I feel, compared to the GLC. With that in mind, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Which one do you like the most out of these two? Stay safe. Cheers.